Hello. Over the past year, I've gathered a lot of research regarding the topics of obesity and healthcare spending in the United States. From this, I've discovered a close association between the two, and it is quite shocking. I wanted to acquire additional information about the state of awareness that people have about the problems associated with obesity and its effects on healthcare spending. So, I decided to interview several individuals to understand what level of knowledge people currently possess about the issue. Following the interviews, I provided the interviewees with information I hoped would enhance their awareness and persuade them to support federal intervention to prevent the obesity epidemic from increasing healthcare spending drastically. I have compiled the responses into the following clips. I hope you learned something.
Economic stability, education, and I'm going to say diet.
Monopolies of the healthcare system.
Obviously, there are your corporations. Corporations want to get their piece of the pie.
Lack of others, not having health care.
Is the distribution of money from insurance companies. It's dependent upon the number of people in a practice for the same procedure as opposed to the quality of the care.
Medicine. I mean, medicine's a huge factor for anybody who has some kind of a chronic illness or pre-existing condition when they were born. I mean,
I do not, but I do have family that does.
The last two, heart disease and high blood pressure.
my maternal grandmother had type 2.
I actually had two aunts who were type 2.
Oh my gosh. I swear, I want to say it's like 70%.
I'm gonna say like 50%.
Let's say 36%.
70.
I'm going to say 55%.
Probably 25.
I would absolutely have no idea.
Oh, I have no idea.
26%.
And I'm going to say 32%.
At least 60%.
And then in 2050, I'm going to bump it up to like 25%.
If we're on the same trajectory, I'm going to say it's probably going to be closer to 50%.
Like 75.
39%.
Actually, we will go bankrupt because between Social Security, Medicare, and these other costs, we can't afford it.
You're going to have absolutely no clue.
At least a few thousand, like $2,000.
$4,000.
I bet it's something ridiculous.
From $250 to over $1,000.
10,000 to 25,000.
Okay.
$20,000.
Yeah, sure, give it a shot.
No.
Of course I would.
Yes. I would say follow Canada and make healthcare free.
I think you have to break up the hospital monopolies. And I think you have to stop hospitals buying up doctors' practices. I think you have to put an incentive in to make people want to be healthier. A good example would be your insurance is higher if you lead a certain lifestyle.
I think like there would be people who might participate in programs, but they're not going to do it because of money, like Weight Watchers, let's say, or a YMCA or some kind of exercise. So something like that. If there was some way to do, they do the free and reduced lunches at schools. Maybe you do a free or reduced membership.
I think education, and I think also the disparity between those who have more money and poverty needs to be tightened up, and we need to be able to do something that allows for people to be able to afford fresh fruits and vegetables and more more healthy food.
Please view the following statistics. They will hopefully answer the questions posed in the interviews. The responses from the interviewees revealed a lot of meaningful information. First, this conveyed the widespread impact of obesity because nearly every participant had family members affected by it. More importantly, however, it proved that people tend to have a limited understanding about the issue. In general, they failed to understand the enormous burden of healthcare spending on the American economy and place conservative estimates on how much it has increased in recent years. Luckily, nearly all participants expressed support for a nutrient tax, suggesting that, if well informed, citizens will support federal regulation of the obesity epidemic. After reading the participants a compilation of facts and reasoning from my research, they became even more aware of the issue, and a few chose to offer additional responses.
Go back to 1950 and look at the obesity rate, then look at a change relative to recommendations for food. And you'll see obesity starts going like crazy after that. And the change was subtle. It was breakfast. They got people away from eating eggs and bacon and toast and drove them towards cereal because, quote, eggs were bad for cholesterol. So what did people do? You put sugar on the cereal.
If we lower and make fresh fruits and vegetables, and fresh meats, instead of the canned meats and things like that, more affordable for people, then maybe they'll be able to then maybe they're more willing to make healthier choices because that's what they can afford. I think people who are making the choices that they're making isn't necessarily because they prefer the junk food or this over the fresh food, but this is what they can afford when they have 2 or 3 or 4 kids to feed, and they just can't afford all of this and get the children filled up so that they're not hungry.
You've just got to be kidding me.
I mean, these are projections.
These are ridiculous.
But
this is ridiculous.
based on healthcare spending.
Oh my lord. And how much of that is avoidable? Like, well, the financial aspect is blowing my mind. You know what the problem is, though? The non-fat alternatives are expensive. It says literally at a restaurant back in the 80s was probably a 10-inch plate or an 8-inch, and now it's a 12 or 14-inch. You know, by the way, it was full when it was 8 to 10. Now it's full at 10 to 12. And guess what? We're finishing. It's a huge problem.
Yes,
it can be reversed. Why can't we do something like that? Good grief.
Clearly, these individuals gained valuable knowledge by partaking in these interviews. Not only has this enhanced their awareness, but it also provoked contemplation about other potential solutions. These people have become more informed and will spread this knowledge to family and friends, who will spread it further, and so on. As knowledge and subsequent acceptance of these necessary solutions spreads, popular support will grow and positive change will follow.